All right, guys. I hope you all can hear me loud and clear and see my screen as well. Okay, so guys, thank you for waiting, and let's get started. I think everybody's here. A lot of people are here. I'm not sure if everybody's here or not, but a lot of people are here, so we can get started. So just to quickly introduce, my name is Pratik Agrawal, and I'm one of the co-founders with Ivy Pro School, as well as I'm one of the instructors here. And I've got approximately 18 years of experience in the data industry, worked across different things in data industry since 2004, and trained a lot of people as well, consulted a lot of companies in the US and Europe and India. More about me, you can Google my name, Pratik and Ivy, and you will find me there very easily. You just go to Google and search for Pratik Ivy. The first link that you will get will be my link on LinkedIn. Feel free to send me a request, and I accept requests from all my learners. So I'll be more than happy to accept the request. I have given it in the chat window as well. So that's the introduction. What are we going to do today? It's a very interesting and interesting thing. Okay, just to show you just to show you a preview, and then we'll also talk about how we are doing all that. So just to show you a preview, we are going to do data cleaning and entry. We'll automate the entire process using GenAI in Google Sheet. Earlier, I had thought that we would do it in Excel, but Excel, the problem is a lot of things are version dependent, and I realized that not everybody would have the latest Office 365 like the one that I have. So I decided to do it in Google Sheet, but can easily be replicated in Excel as well. Okay, so that is the thing that we will do today. Let me give you a preview of some of the things that we will do. Okay, so let me open one of my Google Sheet where I already have the data imported, as well as few things done. So if you notice here in this Google Sheet, in the A column, we have emails. We have different emails. Say, for example, these emails are order confirmation emails sent by customers, and there are quite a bit of them. And if you notice, there is a certain pattern in the email. The pattern is that the emails have order quantity, order delivery date, as well as quantity. Some of the emails also have the name and the email ID and the phone numbers, and some of them have, some of them do not have. And what you want to do as part of your data cleaning process is that you want to extract the delivery date, the quantity, and the email and phone number from these emails, so that you can populate this B, C, D, E column. And you want to be able to do that using using GenAI, so that you do not have to write complex formulas, you do not have to create complex formulas, and not be worried about so much of data cleaning. So how do we do it? So I've already written something behind the scene, and I'm using GenAI for that. And I'm going to just run one code which I'm going to share with you. You really do not have to go into the details of the code as well. I'll tell you, how and what's happening in that code and how do you use that. This is called as a Google App Script code, equivalent to Excel VBA. Now it says it is done, and here, if you notice, it has extracted the delivery date, the quantity, the email, the phone number, from all the emails. If you notice, wherever it is not available, it says not available, right? So it becomes much easier to do something like this using GenAI. If GenAI wasn't there, then you have to write complex formulas to do the same. So that is the power of GenAI, guys. Okay, let me show you some more interesting examples of the things that we will do today. Let's say here, if you notice here, I've got some data, and in this data, what is there, if you notice, what is happening is a lot of things are missing, a lot of columns are missing. For example, the category column doesn't have some data here, unit sold doesn't have some data, revenue doesn't have some data. Let me remove some more revenues here. Region doesn't have some data. And now this is a very small sample of data that I've taken, but you could have thousands and hundreds of thousands of rows as well. And the same process would work for rest of the rows as well. So okay, my voice should be clear. I think it's clear to most of the folks. So If there is some audio issue, should not be ideally from my side because I'm on a very high speed internet dedicated line. So just rejoin normally, that takes care of it. So here, what I want to do is again using Gen AI, I want to impute the missing values. Impute meaning I want to replace the missing values with some more likely values. So if you have some understanding of how to do missing value imputation, then you would know that if it is a categorical variable basically means these, say for example, category is a categorical variable, region is a categorical variable. Why? Because there are set number of regions that could be possible. For example, the categories here given us tech, electronics, tech, fashion, tech, home, electronics, tech, fashion. So we kind of understand that the categories are predefined, and here regions also are the categories of regions are also predefined: north, south, west, east, right? So now when we have such categorical data, and when you have numerical data, continuous numerical data like this, then using for numerical continuous data, we normally replace the missing values with mean. And for categorical data, we normally replace the missing values with mode. If you want to know a little bit more about this missing value treatment and the statistical functions that I use to do that and why, I can give you one of my other videos from which is already there live on Ivy's YouTube platform, which can actually help you understand these logics as well. But here we'll use Gen AI, so we're not really concerned what's happening. Gen AI will apply its own brain and will give us the data in such a way that will help us to do it. Okay. Yeah. So here, how? So now look at this again. So I'm going to run a script here, which is again a Gen AI based script, and I'm going to give you all these scripts today. Okay. And I'm using one LLM service, large language model service, to do that. So now if you notice, it is filled with with the data. Now, is it right or not right? Missing value imputation always will have some margin of errors. For example, here in region, it has put Europe. Now that's incorrect. So we could actually do something about it in the script that we have written to make it correct. But largely, it does its job. Okay. So this is one of the other things that we would do. One more thing that we will do today is that we will understand how do we import data from. So if you notice here, I will tell you, Chetan, don't worry about it. Chetan's question is in which script this GenAI code is written. I will tell you, how to generate that script as well. It's app script actually. It's a Google Sheet proprietary language, which is very similar to JavaScript. But you really don't need to know that coding language that much, as long as you know where to copy from and where to put the code and what thing to replace there in that code, and which could be just one line of code that you need to replace. So if you notice in this particular case, what we're doing is that if you notice here, what we are doing is that from a Wikipedia link, for example, this is my Wikipedia link, which gives me the GDP, nominal GDP table of all the countries in the world. What I'm doing here is that I have used one function, a function to import the data from the Wikipedia GDP list page as well. So we'll see, how we could do that in Google Sheet. Okay, there is a very simple function. There is no Gen AI applied here, just a function here. So we'll do that as well as now let's look at one more example. Okay, in this particular case, in this particular use case, what we have is these in A column. In the A column, we have the customer complaints given, machine problem text, meaning given by the customers to the customer care agent. So you see, when you have a problem, generally you call up a customer care and they ask ask the answer to your query. So here we have taken those queries which are either asked verbally or in text form and given to a customer care of an organization. And what we are doing is that we will use the Gen AI to categorize and assign the messages to the right departments automatically. Now, this here in sheet 1 contains the training data. Training data meaning using this data, we will train GenAI to say that if these are the messages which are tagged to the right department by, let's say, some human being, use this technique or use this training data and do the same for the messages, let's say for the new messages. Now, these are the new messages. Let me put it this: new complaints, which you want to be tagged to the right department in the B column automatically. Let me wrap it. So we want these messages to be read by GenAI and tagged to the right department here. So if you notice here, I'm going to run the script here for this, and it will do it. So if you notice, it has automatically tagged. In sheet 2, it has automatically tagged. Very interesting application, because once it is tagged, then the right department could actually answer the query that the customer has asked or take action based on the question that the customer has asked, right? So that becomes very, very interesting as well, guys. Okay. Sorry, I'm just looking at some of the questions provided, asked in the chat in YouTube as well. So, all right, no questions there. All right, great. So these are the use cases that we will do, and what I will try and do is that I will pick up some volunteer from the audience that are available today to do these things. I am hoping that everybody would have access to Google Sheet. That's the only thing that you really need access to. Rest of the things, I'm going to help you do it. One of the very important thing that we are doing today, or one of the important service that we will be using today, is okay. Sorry, before we do that, let me also highlight a couple of things here, guys. Okay. So I have given you the preview. Now, just a one line about the sponsor of today's event. So Ivy Pro School is the sponsor for today's event. Ivy Pro School is is one of the oldest and one of the top ranked data and AI schools in India. And we are official learning partner of some of the largest Fortune 500 companies, and most of our courses also accredited by IIT Guwahati, Government of India, Nasscom, and IBM. Our special focus, our expertise lies in data and AI courses, data engineering, data science, AI, machine learning, Gen AI, and we work, as I said, with official learning. I mean, we work with Fortune 500 companies like Tata Steel, ITC, Accenture, Genpact, Honeywell, Tesco, and the similar curriculum we deliver to our retail students in B2C format as well. At any point of time, we have more than 1,500 students enrolled. We have an alumni base of 30,500 alumni working in 500, almost 450, 500 plus companies. And we have offices in 6 different cities. As I said, we have deep expertise in data, AI, and GenAI. So this is about us, about Ivy Pro School. I would encourage you to subscribe to the Ivy Pro School YouTube channel. You will get similar industry speaker led tutorials and workshops on various data and AI topics for free. All right. So that's about the sponsor of today's event. Now, some of the common myths that I want to burst about GenAI. The first common myth that I want to burst about GenAI is that ChatGPT is GenAI and GenAI is ChatGPT. That's not the case, guys. GenAI is significantly beyond ChatGPT. ChatGPT happens to be only one application, one chatbot, where you're using OpenAI's large language model service to do a lot of tasks. It is a powerful chat. It's a powerful chatbot, but it's just one application of it. It is much, much beyond that. Now, a lot of people have this myth that if you know ChatGPT and hence you know GenAI, that's not the case. If you know ChatGPT, you're just a user of on the chatbot, but you're not using it to customize and to create tools and platforms and apps to bring efficiency into your task. Okay, and in Ivy we have built so many different platforms, different live tools for our company, for our clients, and we have had our students building those platforms as well, which have interesting applications. One of the very interesting live platform which is already there and everybody can try, that is built in house by us, is time to justice.ai. This particular platform behaves like an AI legal advisor. So you can actually ask any legal query. You can also draft legal document. You can upload legal documents, get reply to the legal documents, compare documents. Behind the scene, GenAI is working. Okay? And we built entire platform in less than 3 months with a very small team size of 4 or 5 people. So the point here is that GenAI is much beyond ChatGPT, guys. And the third myth that people normally tell me is that making a career in GenAI is very difficult. You got to be a coder, an extreme programming champ to make a career in GenAI. That's not the case. There are, yes, if you have been a coder, if you understand computer science very well, if you have a very strong understanding of how deep learning algorithms work, how NLP works, you can actually make a private LLM as well. However, if you do not have that kind of a background, you can still use GenAI to build extremely useful apps. We have trained HR guys to build GenAI tools for bringing efficiency to HR operations. Very simple example, I would tell you that one of the teams that we work with, HR teams that we work with, they wanted to build a tool whereby they could parse or they could read and categorize and score thousands of resumes that they get daily and cover letters that they get daily and assign it, uh, do a match ranking based on the job description. So we helped them create a tool in less than, I want to say, 3 hours, wherein the interface was very simple. In one side, they could upload the folder or they could give the OneDrive link or the Google Drive link of the resumes. And the other side, the moment they would hit a submit, in the other side, it would give an Excel file that would rank the resumes and match it to the right job description, give them a score as well. Very interesting. And they did that in less than 3 hours. Now that saves real time to this HR team. And that is a real dollar saving. Okay, so there are so many such use cases. And this was done by HR guys, people who did not have any NLP background, any coding background to do it. Okay. Yes, please don't believe also one more thing that, you don't need to know any coding. There is slight element of coding that is involved, but believe me, that's not very difficult with the help of ChatGPT that is there. Okay. Building GenAI tools is expensive, not necessarily. Our cost of building this time to justice.ai was significantly cheap. Okay, there are people who are building GenAI tools in less than 10,000 rupees as well, less than 5,000 rupees as well. Okay, literally, it has become so cheap that you can build a feature or a platform or a tool that could save you lakhs daily in by spending less than 5,000, less than $100 as well. So it's not expensive as well. Can be expensive if you're building your private large language model, guys. Okay, companies are not. So another thing that people say that GenAI is high. I say that GenAI is not high. There are real use cases. Companies are investing. Every company that we work with, each company, whether it is a manufacturing company like Bridgestone or Tata Steel or ITC or Honeywells of the world, they're manufacturing, traditional manufacturing companies, they're investing their time and effort in building platforms, building tools using GenAI. I'm not even talking about high-tech companies, guys. Okay, these are traditional manufacturing companies. We are also working with a lot of startups, okay, and non-tech startups which are spending a lot of time and effort in building GenAI tools. The last thing that I hear about GenAI is that if you know prompt engineering, then you know GenAI. No, that's not the case. Yes, if you know prompt engineering, you can build very strong prompt, and that's one of the great skills to have. But again, GenAI is beyond prompt engineering as well. All right, I will just take 1 minute here to ask you guys if you guys have any questions so far. Any questions so far? All right. You can prompt me in the middle of the session as well, but these are the things that we will do today. We'll use large language model API service, application programming interface service, to achieve the following data cleaning and data entry automation task. The first thing that we will do is we will learn. I've shown you all these use cases as well. Missing data cleaner, extract data from emails into a table, categorize customer complaints sent as text into categories, extract data from a website. Somebody has asked me, what is prompt engineering? So prompt engineering is, so when you go to chat GPT and ask a prompt, when you ask a prompt, now you can ask a very simple prompt and keep getting responses which are not satisfying. Or if you know the science behind prompt engineering, how to build that prompt, there is a lot of techniques which are there behind building prompts. If you know how to build prompts effectively, then the responses that you will get from chat GPT kind of a tool would be significantly more relevant to the question that you've asked, right? So the goal of prompt engineering is to get the right answer as quickly as possible from a large language model using their chat bot or something like that. Okay, so I have actually recorded a few a few videos on prompt engineering as well. How do you build the right kind of prompt using chat GPT? Those videos are uploaded in Ivy Pro's YouTube platform, so you can actually search for it, or probably towards the end I can give you the links to those videos as well, where you can learn prompt engineering for free. Boloram is saying that it is a way of communicating with AI. Well, I mean, I wouldn't really say with all AI, but yes, with GenAI, specifically, if you want GenAI to do certain tasks, then you're supposed to send certain prompt to it and certain message to it, and that's what prompt engineering means. Okay. All right. So definitely, Mr. Day, I will give you the links to those videos as well. You know, they are very simple to follow videos. You can learn it without any hassle. So missing data cleaner, extract data using emails into a table, categorize customer complaints as categories, extract data from a website. Yes, Rishi, we will do that. Now, I want let me show you how and what we will do. Okay, and then I'm going to share the links of the codes. You know, I'll put the code into a Google Doc, and you can upload that Google Doc. I mean, you can use the code, and you can do that. Okay, the first thing first. Okay, the first thing first is we need an API key. API key. So the first question that should come to your mind is, what is an API? Because that's going to be the brain that we're going to use today. Now, what is an API service? Is any large language model, okay, which is by a recognized company. For example, OpenAI is a very famous large language model company. So what they do is that they provide access, public access, to their large language model. Okay, the brain behind ChatGPT. So OpenAI provides, OpenAI is the company behind ChatGPT, provides API access to their LLM through APIs. So for example, they have a LLM running called as ChatGPT 3.5 or GPT, not ChatGPT, sorry, GPT 3.5 or GPT 3.5 Turbo, to be very specific, 4.0, and the latest in the town is 4. So one is just 4, and now there is a 4.0, which is only not 40 but 4.0. So these are their currently famous GPT models or LLM models that are running. But you as a service, you as a user, if you're building a platform, you're building an app where you want to use GenAI services provided by OpenAI's large language model. These are all LLM models, which is pre-trained, pre-configured for public use. Now, if I want to use any of these large language models provided by OpenAI as a company, I need to be able to get access to these LLMs. And in order to get the access, I need to have my API key with me. API key is sort of a login key, you may say, private to a particular user or an organization, through which you can pay as well. If you're going to use a lot of their service, then OpenAI, which is a profit-driven organization now, they will charge you money, of course, for it, but they give free up to $5, which is good enough to try a lot of things. So I will show you how to create your own API key. And today, for the training, to save time, I will be using my API key, but I will show you how to create your own API key as well. And then once you have created your own API key, then we will utilize that API key, put it into the code or the script in Google Sheet, Google Sheet, and then we'll be able to access the LLM power, the power of LLM in OpenAI. So the key thing is to get access to API key provided by OpenAI. How do I get the access to API key? In order to get the access to API key, what you need to do is go to Google and search for OpenAI API. The first link, or maybe the second link, which says platform.openaiapi.com, openai.com, is the link that where you want to go. It'll ask for sign up if you have not signed up. Now, this is not ChatGPT sign up. This is a separate sign up that you have to do. I have already signed up. So the first thing would be sign up. Once you have signed up in this platform, this is the platform, platform.openai.api.com. I'll put it in the chat message as well. However, you can easily find it on Google. I just searched OpenAI API. All right. Once you are there, then what happens is you have to go to dashboard, and then on the left hand side, you will find something called as API keys. And in the API keys, what you would have to do is you'll have to click on create new secret key. Once you create a new secret key, now I already have the secret key. Once you create a new secret key, what's going to happen is it is going to ask, hey, do you own it? Yes, you can give it a name, temporary name, a project, let that be default project, and let that permission be all, and click on create secret key. Now, here I have already created the secret key. So I'm going to go to here, and it's kind of, my secret key is slightly old. So it's already created over here. You can see, and this was last used today. You can see it over here. And so this is the secret key. And once you have created it, by the way, save it somewhere safely, because you will not be able to see it again. Okay, and remember, you don't want to share it with the whole public. I'm going to share my API key with you all today because you all are attending my workshop today. But I know that after the workshop, I'm going to change the API key so that you will not be able to reuse it again, because there can be cost implication to me. But as I said, it's for free up to $5, which is good enough to learn. What does this API key do? Vanshika, as I just explained, just like in order to access, let's say, Gmail, which is a email service by Google, you need to create a login, right? And if you want to use their premium services, for example, more than 15 GB of storage in your email, then you have to pay as well, right? So here, instead of login, what we are doing is that when a service, or when a software created by a user wants to interact with another software created by another company, then they need to have an API access between them. That way, the service provider, in this case, OpenAI, the service provider, comes to know that user one, or particular user, is using their service. So it's kind of a login access to use a service provided by a service provider. For example, Google is a service provider for email, among many other things. Vanshika. Here, we want to use OpenAI's large language model, which is the brain behind GenAI, right? And hence, we need the API key from OpenAI, and that's what we have done. This is the platform for API generation by OpenAI, and we are creating an API key. Through this API key, OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, can track the uses for this. You will have the option of ChatGPT 3.5, I mean GPT 3.5 as well, definitely. Okay, now, or you can use the latest one. It's not a problem. Okay, remember you have limit of $5, which is enough to practice, guys. Okay, and don't worry, they will not charge you without asking for your permission. Okay, so that's the API key that I've already created. I've already saved it as well in my script files. Now, how do we use this API is what we will now talk about. Now, let me open a new new tab, completely new tab. And what I will do is I will go to Sheets. That means I'm opening a Google Sheet. So you can also just do Google Sheet. Now, of course, you have to be logged in, and then you can go there and open the Google Sheet. You will have to sign in again and everything. But what I have done is the shortcut to go to a Google Sheet is when you press sheets.new, then you will get a blank Google Sheet. That's what basically I've just opened a blank Google Sheet. That's it. Okay, this is also a blank Google Sheet. All right. So that's what I have just done. Just open a blank Google Sheet. The first experiment that we will do right now, is, or the first use case that we will see right now is, so first thing, let's do this second last thing. Categorize customer complaints sent as text into category, or maybe let me do the second one. Extract data from emails into a table. Okay, let me copy because I already have created this. These are the emails. Let me copy the first column, Control C. Let me put it over here. Ask me questions, guys, as if you think something is not making sense. I'll be more than happy to answer. So this is the confirmation email. These are confirmation emails. Very nice. Now, is this web scraping? So Prachi has asked one question, that is this only for web scraping? No, not necessarily. Web scraping, I'm not doing web scraping here. I've not done web scraping yet, although I can show you web scraping as well. Devesh is saying, can you repeat how to create API? Devesh, I'm going to upload the recording of this this particular workshop on Ivy Pro's YouTube channel as well. So you can follow it again if you have forgotten, but I will still explain you. Once you log in, once you have created the login into platform.openai.com, then what you want to do is you want to go to dashboard here on the top, dashboard here, and then you want to go to API keys over here on the left hand side, and there you can create a new API key. You can create a new API key. Vanshika's question is, can I teach you to make personal GenAI like you did the Time to Justice one? Any webinar on that? I mean, actually, Vanshika, today's session is also similar to that, actually. I mean, it's just that, of course, we had a slightly more professional approach towards it. We had UI UX designer as well with us, and then we had some front end developers also to create the complete user interface. But the main brain behind that is what we are going to talk about today, Vanshika. And then do reach out to me personally, and I can explain you, Vanshika. I'll be more than happy to help anybody. It's I like to talk about and I like to help others. I truly believe that more and more people who know about AI and data, the lives are going to become better. So feel free to reach out to me personally as well. On LinkedIn is the best way to reach out to me. Otherwise, I can give you my email address as well, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions related to AI and GenAI. Now, this is the email, guys. Okay, in sheet one, and here Let me go back to my sheet for a moment. Let me just copy the headers, and I will share all these things as in the description of the YouTube recording that will be uploaded on Ivy Pro School's YouTube channel. I'll upload all these files, links over there as well. Okay, let me go back here, put it here. So these are the columns that I want to extract. This is the data that I want to extract from here. So this is my input sheet one. Now look at this carefully, guys. Okay, look at this step carefully, guys. Okay, so that you can replicate these steps later by watching the recording as well. Here, now the question is, how and where do we put that code that we have created in order to connect to OpenAI's LLM service using the API key that we have already created? Okay, this is going to be the most important thing for you to understand. Now, and also the code that I have written here, you can also use ChatGPT to create that code. Okay, if you explain ChatGPT that this is your purpose, the purpose is that you want to extract delivery date, quantity, email, phone number, which is hosted in sheet one of a Google Sheet, right? Please create the code which will help me to pull the data from OpenAI's GenAI service, LLM, using the API. It will create that code as well. I will give you the code, but if you want to create yourself, you can also use ChatGPT to do the same. It's going to be easy. But what is unknown to a lot of people is that where do you copy and paste that code to, and how do you use that code that's created in ChatGPT? So this is where you go to in extensions in Google Sheet, and you will find something called as app script. This is where you write your custom code on top of Google Sheet. And when it opens, okay, it will be something like this on over here. Of course, I'm assuming that you have already logged in. It'll be something like this, and delete everything that is there, right? And paste the code. Now, the code for this, which I'll upload in the in Ivy Pro School's YouTube video link. Yeah, data extraction from the email. This is the code. Now, in this code, is it the same? Rishi has asked, is it same kind? Okay, let me answer this question slightly later. So this is the code, guys, that we will be using. Control A, Control C, and again, as I said, I will upload it in the description. Now here, if you notice, everything is pre-written, guys. Okay, everything is pre-written. The only line of change in the code that you have to make is where it says replace with your own API key. Currently, I have given my API key under pair or double quotes. Remember, under pair or double quotes. So under pair or double quotes, the code that you created, the API key that you created from this website here, OpenAI's API key website here that you created, you will just copy that API key. As I said, it just shows once the first time it creates, it shows it there. Bring that API key and put it over. That's it. There is nothing else that you have to change in the code at all. Okay. How you got this code? I'll share this code with you. I'll share this code, Pranavi. I'll share it in a notepad file, which you can copy. Anybody can copy, no problem. Okay. Now, here, if you look at this, it's building the prompt, it's going to this URL, it will take this OpenAI's URL, it'll take the API key that I've given here, and it says extract. Why did you search this? Oh, so Pranavi, what I did is I have some knowledge of AppScript as well. I won't really say that I'm very expert in it. So I use ChatGPT slightly and I modified the code slightly, but you can actually use ChatGPT from where I will show you. So no problem. I will show you how to and where to create a code like this as well. You can use ChatGPT kind of service to do this as well. Okay. Absolutely. So here The only change that I'm doing is here, if you notice. Sorry, in the API key. Okay. So no, you can create it manually as well. But as I said, unless you are a very sophisticated programmer, I would say this: just use a ChatGPT kind of service to create a code like this for a specific purpose. Just mention for which platform. So if you're creating it for Google Sheet, just mention that you're doing it for Google Sheet. That's it, right? So I'll show you how to create that as well. So now this is the code, right? I've pasted it over here, right? I save it. Remember to modify the API key. I save it. Once I have saved it, it takes a slight bit of time. Once I have saved it, I'll go to a specific function, and again that would be mentioned in. So I've gone to get details from AI, and right, and then I run it. That's it. So it'll ask for authorization first time when you're running it. Give the authorization. Authorization is Google's precaution that, hey, boss, you understand that your data you're connecting to an external service. So there can be a data exchange between your code, your file, as well as an external service provider, because we are using an API service. Okay. API is wrong, but my API is correct. Let me see. Yeah, sorry, I was running the wrong function. And again, that would be mentioned when you create the code, and I'll also mention which function to run. Extract order details using AI in this case. And let's go to the sheet and see if it has done it. So it has done it. You can see it has now extracted the delivery date, the quantity, the email, and the phone. Right now, the question here is, how did we create that code? Right. So let's go to ChatGPT. Let's assuming that you have absolutely no background. So let's go to ChatGPT and let's ask ChatGPT that please create a code in Google for Google Sheet app script, or you don't even have to mention it, understands, to do the following. What are we doing? Shift and enter. What are we doing here? In sheet 1, I want to provide sheet 1 column A. I want to give bunch of emails from where the code using GenAI serviced by OpenAI API, right? From where the code using this should be able to extract the and always give a sample. Actually, sample meaning okay. Sample emails are as follows. Sample emails are as follows. Yes, Rishi, you can say this can be called as part of prompt engineering. I wouldn't really say that I'm using all techniques that I would normally use in prompt engineering to save time. But yeah, like for example, sample emails, being descriptive, being very, very clear in your instruction. These are all techniques behind prompt engineering as well. Sample emails are as following. So in the sample emails, I will just extract, just take some examples of the emails and put it here. Now, it will create the code for you. So it creates the code and it tells you the steps as well where to implement the code. Now that you have seen me doing it, it should become very, very easy. And then see, it says your OpenAI API key. Do not forget to replace it with your own API key. Okay. Now, at times, it will give you wrong code as well. So you have to kind of make it correct. For example, because it can be old. So, for example, here it has not specified the GPT model. So I would say, are you sure about the GPT model version? That's the only thing that at times it does mistakes. It does mistakes at times. So yeah, GPT-4. So it's giving for GPT-4. So you can specifically ask, whether you're using GPT 3.5, 4, and that will be clear. I'm using GPT 3.5. So my codes are written for GPT 3.5. My API key is also GPT 3.5. All right. Now you have the code, right? And then how do you apply that is, again, just to show you extensions, app script, and then it'll come over here and paste the code here. Okay. I would strongly recommend for now, start with the codes that I will provide. Once you are confident, once those codes are running, then go to GPT and create the new set of codes. Okay, that's something that I would recommend. So this is one use case, you've seen it, right? And then you can save it, give it a name, save it, data extraction, using GenAI, and name this file also. Okay, so that's that. And let's use another use case. Okay, again, I will do it from scratch so that you guys can follow the steps again. Okay, this time again I'm creating one more blank Google sheet, right? And this time the use case that we will do is, so we just did this use case, extracted data from emails. Now we will do this use case, categorize customer complaints such as text messages into categories. Let's see what happens. Now for this also I've already written the code. This is my code that I've already written it. So I'll bring Control A, Control C. By the way, there is another method which I don't recommend personally because there can be monetary exchange required for it. Excel and Google Sheet both have a lot of add-ins available by third-party service providers, okay, which have already done this, okay. But there is a payment involved, right? Because you're using somebody else's software. So if you know this bit, just this bit, then you really have to pay nobody nothing to at least start learning. Okay. Now the next thing that you want to do here is this is the code. I will do an alt tab, come over here. I'll go to extensions, app script. Replace this. And the only thing, again, as I said, only thing that you have to do is, what do we have to do, guys? Here in this code. This is the API key that I have already replaced with my API key. Again, you can come over here and replace. Jashwanti, For Excel, I will try and do another webinar or another bootcamp later. The only problem with Excel is it's slightly dependent on the version of Excel. That's the reason why I chose Google Sheet. But we can do it in Excel using the VBA code that is available. So this is the API key that we have modified, and rest of the things remain the same. I'll just go back to this sheet here. In the sheet, I forgot to give the data. So let me give some data here. Yes, this is the data. Oh, sorry, sheet. Control C. Now this time I'm copying both the things because this code is designed in such a way that it is supposed to understand. It is supposed to understand the customer complaint already created by the customers and how human beings have categorized it. For example, this category that we see over here in the department, this is done by some human being. So these are old messages and these are the old categories which are already done. So that's what is going to go in sheet 1. And I'm going to create another sheet, sheet 2. In sheet 2, in the first A column, I will put the new set of Control C, or maybe I'll just copy with the department as well. Control C. And in sheet 2, I'll put the problem and I will have blank department. Now the goal of this particular use case is take the data in sheet 1, sample data of customer complaints and sample categorization, then get trained. So we are going to train GenAI with this sample data, then go to sheet 2 and categorize the new customer complaints and give the right department. So that is what the code is written for. So now let's go to the code. So let's call this as categorize customer complaints using GenAI. So I come over here, the same thing, I will save. I've copied the data, pasted it over here, save it. This is the save project. And again, here, run the write function. So run the classify complaints function. This is the classified complaint function. We are here, click on run. Again, it'll ask for permission. Every new file that we create, it'll ask the permission once. Because we are creating it in new files, so hence it's asking. Yes, you have to go to the target sheet first, then go to extension, then paste the code, and then save the code as well. Save it as well. Okay, so now it has run it. Then you go back here, so you can see that it has categorized the messages properly. Okay. So that's what it has done, guys. Now, okay, I will take 5 extra minutes, guys. Okay, just bear with me. So we have seen 2 use cases. Similarly, you can also do, so this is also we have seen it. Now, similarly, we can do missing data cleaner as well. And the last one, extract data from a website where I'm not using GenAI. I'm just using one of the Google Sheet function. That also I'll show you last first, but before that, let me show you missing data cleaner. Now, for that, let's create a new worksheet. Sorry. Let's create a new worksheet. Sheet.new. A new worksheet. Let's name it as Now here, I will go to that sheet that I have already created the code, right? This is my code. Control A, keep an eye on the function that we have to run. And I go to extensions, app script. Pranavi, in this case, yeah, if you want to find the accuracy, you can actually, you'll have to rely to traditional techniques, but it doesn't. So that's the challenge with GenAI. It doesn't give the accuracy right away. So we have to assess it later. So this is where we are using the same on Priyanka. We are using the same API, same API. See, same API. That's the beauty. I'm using the same API, and this is where I've uploaded it. And now I save it. Oh, missing data. I forgot to give the data here. Let me give the data also. The data, Control C, Control V. Now here I'm going to remove some data, some random data I will try and remove. Remember, don't remove too many data, because if you have too many missing values in the columns, then of course it will not understand the pattern. And if it doesn't understand the pattern, then the missing values replacement that would happen would probably not be very, very statistically right. Okay. And it doesn't make sense to remove the or not have the data for product column, because product column it cannot, cannot suggest. Categories it is able to suggest, because looking at the categories which are occurring the most frequently occurring categories are being replaced in the missing values. Units sold is finding the mean. Revenue also is finding the mean. Region again is most frequently occurring region is what it is trying to do. So this is my data between A and E column. Now I go back to the code here and I will run this code. File missing data is the function that I want to run. And I select that and I run it. It takes a few seconds in this case because it is slightly more involved code. Again, it's asked for the permission also, because again, it was a new worksheet. You can also see the live sheet and it is done. Yeah, it's done. It's replaced. So that's the beauty of just naming it properly. That's the beauty of knowing that you can actually use LLM service providers API and build these simple tools, simple apps, as you may say, without knowing too many things, too many technical details, and have strong applications there. This, I think, is a great start if you are new to this entire GenAI app building service. That's a very, very good start. You must try to create such use cases. Now you can think of the use cases, go to ChatGPT, create the code, come to the Google Sheet, and then implement that code and do it. One of our learners, what he did was, for which he started a startup as well, astrology. So he built a platform like this on Google Sheet on astrology, where people could input their date of birth and all of that. And so, in the religion, you have Kundli and all. So he did all of that. If you're doing all the tasks in one sheet, one Google Sheet file, then it won't ask permission again and again. But I don't recommend doing it in one sheet, because too many codes, it becomes very difficult to manage in one. Google Sheet file. Nivesh, if you want to do that, then of course, you'll have to modify the code slightly. So you can take this code that I'm going to give to you, go to ChatGPT and have ChatGPT add that extra element to it, which is to format. Nivesh. Definitely you can do that. Nivesh's question was, can we highlight the values which are highlighted, which are changed? Okay, guys. Very, very nice. Last thing, last use case, guys. Okay, last use case. Just bear with me. This is not to do with GenAI, but to do. Nivesh's question is: it is good to practice, but can't be used in regulated industry. Yes, a good disclaimer at this point of time would be that if you're working in a very highly regulated industry, for example, finance, pharmaceutical, or any company can have its own regulation, data privacy, and so on and so forth. Remember to take permission from the right authority. Okay, because here you are sending this data external. Although it is safe, but you must ideally take that permission. Now, let's say you work in a very large enterprise, right? And the large enterprise is convinced that yes, GenAI has real use case to yourself. Then the enterprise would be willing to spend money and build their own private LLM, which will not be exposed to public. The OpenAI LLM service that we are using, GPT 3.5 or 4, are public LLMs. That means the exchanges that are happening between my system and OpenAI's GPT is public information. But companies are now investing and building their own private LLMs. But there, the cost of building private LLMs could run into $500,000 to $1 million as well, very easily. So only for decent sized companies, it makes sense at this point of time. Nivesh. Alrighty, let's do one simple use case this time, okay, which is to be able to fetch a table of data. Yes, you can use, if you know how to, Rishi's question is, can we write our own lines of code? Of course, you can write lines of code. Of course, you just need to know how to do it. So let's create one more thing. This is a very, very simple use case, but useful use case for a lot of people who are trying to automate the data entry. So say, for example, I go to Wikipedia and I search for GDP gross domestic product list of countries. And let's say I get this list of countries GDP nominal on Wikipedia. Wikipedia's data points are very nicely. So there is a table of data. Ideally, there should be a table of data that you want to scrap or you want to extract, right? Now go back to the Google Sheet. There is no GenAI that I'm using. I'm using Google Sheets inbuilt function here called as import, and we are importing HTML this time. So import HTML, and this is where you will give the URL. So in order to give the URL, come to this sheet, come to this tab, copy this URL, Control C, and come over here and under pair or double quotes, put the URL under pair or double quotes, guys, pair or double quotes, comma, in the query, and you can take the help also. In the query, just write table, because that's what we are extracting. You can extract table or a list. So we will extract table under pair of double quotes again. And which table? Because this sheet may have multiple tables. So I would say this table is, I think, the fourth is the third table or second table, I suppose, if I remember. And locale is just the language. Let it be. It will be in English. And press enter. And what it will try and do is allow the access, because again, it's going externally. Okay, so I think the second one was not this. Was probably the third one. Let me go back here, make the third table, because the web page may have, the third one. All right, so there we go. Thank you, Abhinav. This is the data that it has extracted. And the best thing is, suppose if the data changes in the website, you just have to come over here and rerun this function and it will extract the data. There's new data. Okay, there is no code, there is nothing that we have to write. The only function that we have used here is import HTML. And you didn't even have to write. So, a lot of people end up writing lines of code to scrap data from a website. Here, you didn't have to. Very easily, you could do it. So especially if the data is available in a table or a list form in any website, you can extract it. Yes, Pranavi, it is pretty interesting. Pranavi is very happy about this. So it can be very, very interesting to do something like this. All right, guys, this brings me to the end of today's workshop. Tomorrow, you have a very interesting workshop with one of my other colleagues. He's an expert in data engineering, applying GenAI to data engineering. Do not miss tomorrow's workshop, guys. Okay, same time, same duration, and if you attend tomorrow's workshop as well, then you get a certificate as well for the entire bootcamp series, guys. Every month we try and do a couple of boot camps for all the audience. If you want to access the old boot camps, then do subscribe to Ivy Pro Schools YouTube platform. The Ivy Pro Schools YouTube platform link is given in the chat here. Otherwise, you can just Google youtube.com and Ivy Pro School, right? So you'll find, very interesting workshops that we have already done by different industry speakers on various data and AI topics, including GenAI, data visualization, data science, machine learning, by different experts. Look for interview series as well if you are preparing for the industry. Web scraping. This is Jashwanti. This was an example of web scraping. What we just did. Abhinav's question is. Thank you, Chaitanya. Thank you. Abhinav's question is, one last out. How will it be automated? Like we are giving manually putting link again and again. The only link here, like this link. Well, actually, yes. So I have actually. I want to remember I have done one workshop as well, Abhinav, where I have actually put the links in a table, and it takes the link from a table. But you need to know slightly couple of more things, and today probably is not the right thing. But you can actually have a table where you have given all the links, and the function can actually pick up the link from that table as well very quickly. And if you reach out to me directly, I will be more than happy. Just ping me on LinkedIn, and I'll be more than happy to help you out to know how to do this. Okay, my LinkedIn ID, guys, again, Prateek Ivy. If you search on Google, the first LinkedIn ID that you get will be mine. I'll be more than happy to be connected with you all. And feel free to reach out to me for any problems related to whatever we have done today. Yes, similar to Somik, his question is, if you want to get the data from website like Maven or something, is this code run? A lot of websites do not allow this. A lot of websites which have proprietary data, they don't allow it. That is a limitation, of course, because why would they allow that? I will accept everybody's connection, guys. Thank you, Abhinav, for reaching out. Rishi. How we can put link of specific videos of various chapters. Okay, I did not talk about that, Rishi. That put of no. Here, what his question was that here I was putting the Wikipedia link here manually. So his question was, can it be picked up from a table? And then it extracts the data of all the websites which are given in the link in the table. All right, guys. It was really great having you guys. Look forward to have you guys again tomorrow. I have got my colleague who's an expert in data engineering and GenAI. He will take you to a very different kind of a journey tomorrow. And don't forget to attend tomorrow's workshop, 6:30 to 7:30 again. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night, and I will see you when I can see you. Thank you. Bye-bye. And do subscribe to Ivy's YouTube channel, guys, and do send me a LinkedIn request. I'll be more than happy to accept. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one. Good night. Take care.